Good afternoon, everyone. Meteorologist Angel Wilson with the 2 p.m. update here on Hurricane Idalia. Now, this was just a tropical storm yesterday. We were talking about it when it was in the western Caribbean and then over towards the western tip of Cuba. But as this system has made its way into the Gulf of Mexico, it has found some very warm water, which is like fuel for these systems. This system has intensified to a hurricane now with 90-mile-per-hour winds, gusts up to 105 miles per hour, moving north at about 15 miles per hour. Right now, the track's still showing it making landfall somewhere around the Big Bend of Florida and then passing just to the southeast of North Georgia. So missing us, it's going to be down towards just southeast of the Macon area, kind of moving over the Savannah region as well, and then over portions of the Carolinas before it heads back out towards sea. Now, what does this mean for us? Well, it still means similar impacts to what we were talking about yesterday, with the fact that we could get a few showers closer on down towards the Macon area. Still could even have a few showers here in Atlanta, but our rain chances aren't going to be as significant as what they're going to have in southeast Georgia. Also, our wind threat is not going to really be significant at all. The tropical storm watch that's in place, that's the area shaded in yellow, even doesn't make it up to Macon. So that lets you know, well, we're not really under as much of a threat here. But we want to keep you updated on this system and what it's expected to do here for some of our neighbors down towards the Big Bend of Florida and down into southeast portions of Georgia. So we are expecting it to possibly be up to a Category 3 strength. Could make landfall anywhere around maybe from Crystal River, Florida, all the way up towards the St. Marks area. That does include Cedar Key. So that's a big swath there, the Big Bend of Florida, in an area that's a little bit more swampy. A lot of swamps through there. You also have a lot of low-lying areas, so storm surge is going to be a big threat for them. Also by the fact that you look at this curve in Florida, and you see that water, when it gets pushed up against the coastline, it kind of gets trapped because of the little hook of Apalachicola with the Big Bend of Florida and St. George Island that's located right there on the screen. So this hook could allow some water to get kind of pushed up on shore. They could really have some serious storm surge potential down there towards the Big Bend of Florida, something we're going to have to keep a close eye on, as well as the strong winds. So a Category 3 hurricane would be considered a major hurricane, 125-mile-per-hour winds, something we have to watch, again, very closely. I'm going to give you some live looks of what it looks like down in Florida right now. Where you're looking at the moment is actually near the Fort Myers area. This is going to be I-75, right in the Fort Myers area. They had a pretty good band of rain move through a little bit earlier on. Things are a lot quieter there now. We'll keep a close eye on this camera. It's not going to be as impactful for them. Now remember, Fort Myers, that's where Ian kind of made landfall, right around that region. That's where they had a lot of damage. Thankfully, they're not having as much of an impact down towards Fort Myers and Sanibel, but they are still having some heavy rain at times. We also have a camera. This is going to be down towards Crystal River. So this is kind of on the eastern side of the cone. Crystal River is well known for Three Sister Springs. It's where Hunter Springs is, I think it's referred to. This is where a lot of people go to see the manatees and swim with the manatees. Nice little town there along the southern tier of the Big Bend of Florida. Another spot that we're going to have to keep a close eye on for the storm. Now let's check out what's happening here in North Georgia before we talk a little bit more about Hurricane Idalia. We do have a little bit of shower and thunderstorm activity. This is not associated with Idalia, but we are going to have some heavy rain possible at times this afternoon. We had a lot of heavy rain last night. Take a look up the I-75 corridor. Getting closer on just north of Floyd County there, they had some spots pick up more than 6 inches of rain. Look at far north Georgia, just east of Fannin and Gilmore counties. You see they picked up more than 6 inches of rainfall, so a ton of rain, and parts of the Atlanta area even picked up around 3 inches, especially from a big storm that we had last night for portions of Cobb, Cherokee, and Forsyth counties. Big storm made its way through last night. Taking a look at satellite and radar, you see a lot of moisture all across the southeast. All this really deep moisture is something that is just going to be enhanced by Hurricane Idalia as it makes its way further off towards the north. Now, Idalia is not the only system that we have out there. We also have Franklin, and we also have Tropical Depression 11. Tropical Depression 11 is off screen here, But Franklin is located right here, big hurricane there, and then of course Hurricane Idalia, which is not as intense, but something we have to keep a close eye on. Of course, the Air Force and NOAA hurricane hunters have been flying this system. They're gathering all this data, and all this data goes into the forecast, or goes into the models, which helps us get a better forecast, and that cone becomes more narrow, so it's more precise. If we can save evacuating a mile of coastline because we're more accurate on the forecast, we're more precise and more certain, it could save millions of dollars for each mile that we end up saving across the forecast. So Tropical Depression 11's out there. Just mentioned that a moment ago. It's not going to be a threat. We'll keep an eye on it. We also have Hurricane Franklin, though, 125 mile per hour sustained winds, gusts up to 160. This storm moving north-northeast at 12 miles per hour. It's going to stay away from land and stay out to sea. That's what we like to see. But of course, Idalia, not the same. It is going to be impacting us. This area in red, that's hurricane warnings in place. Tropical storm warnings are also in place there. And this system, again, is just going to be continuing to make its way up across our region, south of North Georgia here, but across southeast portions of Georgia. You see that the spaghetti models all in pretty good agreement here. The system is going to be staying down to our southeast. Again, not really going to be having much of an impact on us as far as wind and rain is concerned, but we could have a little bit of rain and some breezy conditions. And this is the big reason why we are going to be having this system intensify. Look at how hot it is in the Gulf right now. These temperatures in the Gulf in the 80s, bathtub water, really hot conditions out there in the Gulf. Not what you want to see whenever you have a tropical system moving over that's going to have the ability to really intensify as it moves off to the northeast thanks to that warmer water. Now we do have the hurricane warning that's in place down towards Valdosta. We have actually tropical storm warnings in place even further off to the west there, even all the way over towards Thomasville, Georgia, which is just north of Tallahassee. We do have the tropical storm warning all the way up the Georgia coastline. The system is going to weaken pretty quick as it moves on shore. That's the good news. So it won't be as intense as it moves over Savannah and Brunswick and then up to the Charleston area, but still could have some intensity. So those in that region need to also be taking some precautions, listen to local leaders, and also make sure that they have some water and food stocked up just in case they do end up losing power for a certain period of time. Remember, they have a lot of power crews out there that are getting set up for this event, but you still could lose power for a few days, and you want to make sure that you're ready for that. So if you have any friends or family down that way, make sure that they're doing all they need to do to be prepared for this system, going in with that hurricane action plan that they should have had prepared before the season even started. Looking at the forecast track, let's watch what happens with Idalia. So we do have the chance for showers and storms this afternoon for us. This is not associated with Idalia. Maybe even a few showers and storms overnight tonight. We get to about 6:30 a.m. on Wednesday, and here's where one of our models is trying to put Idalia for the early morning hours on Wednesday. Trying to put it right there towards the Big Bend of Florida, east of Apalachicola, and then making landfall somewhere near Cedar Key. So Cedar Key is located right about... try to get my tool back up on the screen here to show y'all. Cedar Key is located right about here, and it's going to make its way off to the northeast, really going to impact areas like St. Mark's. That's a really low-lying area in the St. Mark's River there. The rivers all throughout this region really going to have water back up into them and flood some more inland areas too. And then the system will then, of course, continue its way off to the north. So let's show where it's going to be, how it's going to impact us. Again, we may have some breezy conditions down towards Edenton, but we're not expecting any tropical storm force winds. This is as of 1 p.m. This is as of 4:30 in the afternoon. Again, a few of those rain bands could impact us, so a little bit of light to moderate shower activity down, mainly southeast of the metro. But still, again, a brief shower in Atlanta isn't out of the question. And then the system moves away from us as we head throughout the early morning hours there on Thursday, overnight Wednesday, and into Thursday. So it's going to move by really fast. We get our way to about Thursday at 8:30 a.m. It's away from us, and we are actually going to end up with some cooler conditions after this moves out of here. It's actually going to be fairly comfortable because we're on the weaker side of the storm, and it's going to be pulling down air from off towards the north, which means we get a little bit drier and a little bit cooler for a brief period of time. So there's a lot of activity out there in the tropics right now. You may be saying, wow, this is a ton of stuff going on all at once. Well, this is actually when that typically happens. The climatological peak of the Atlantic hurricane season is September 10th. I always say the last 2 weeks of August, first 2 weeks of September are when some of the most impactful storms have made landfall in the U.S. You take a look at today. Today is August 29th. 18 years ago today, Hurricane Katrina made landfall. So that in New Orleans. So at first it made landfall in southern Florida, but the big, most impactful portion of the storm when it made landfall just southeast of New Orleans, rather, closer to the mouth of the Mississippi River and then up to Bay St. Louis, Waveland, Mississippi. That was the morning of August 29th. So that lets you know we're right there in the thick of the season, the most active portion. Once we get past those first 2 weeks of September, we should start to see things calm down a little bit, but you still have the possibility for more storms to be named. We have a lot of names left on the list, too. Jose would be the next named storm if we do get another named system. That will likely be what Tropical Depression 11 will turn into. We'll keep a close eye on that. You see the rain chances will be up still a little bit on Wednesday and then dropping off Thursday. A majority of the rain that happens this next week will be southeast of the Atlanta area. Notice that portions of southeast Georgia, the coastal plains of Georgia rather, maybe 5 to 7 inches of rainfall, a ton of rain. Meanwhile, here in North Georgia, not as much. I'm going to bump it back real quick to show you. Anywhere from about a half of an inch to an inch of rainfall, more likely across our region. Much of that's going to happen over the next 48 hours. Here's the high temperatures in Atlanta as we make our way throughout the next 5 days. You see that, again, we are going to cool off a little bit. Look at Wednesday, 81 for the high, 84 there for Thursday and Friday, and then warming back up. I told you it wasn't going to be long, that we were going to be cooler by the time we head into the weekend. So you can see there that the temperatures, again, are going to warm up a good bit. We're going to have back into the lower 90s by the time we get to Labor Day. It will be drier for Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and Monday. Should be some fairly nice conditions out there for anybody who's maybe wanting to head out to the pool one more time before Labor Day hits. 70% chance for showers and storms today. And again, those rain chances will be going down a little bit as we head into the day on Wednesday. So, of course, we're going to be continuing to keep you updated anytime there's a new update that comes out on Idalia. We're going to have updates throughout the day. Chief Meteorologist Chris Holcomb is going to be in this evening with the latest updates to the forecast and the latest updates on the system. Meteorologist Nicole Hartford is also in the building. She's going to have the update at 7 on WATL. You can tune into that and then also tune into WXIA 11 Alive at 5, 5:30, 6, and then again at 11. We'll have updates all throughout tonight on this system and throughout tomorrow morning. Meteorologist Cheston McNeil is going to be back in tomorrow morning to keep everyone updated. So I'm meteorologist Andrew Wilson. We'll keep you updated throughout the day here on 11 Alive, on 11alive.com, and on the 11 Alive app.